When life confines you, you dream of escape, but everyone tells you that would be a mistake. So you dream and make plans in your head until you can think of nothing else when you lay in your bed. You know what to do because the calling's so strong. Your heart's already there, but your head says it's wrong. So you listen to your gut and you announce to the world that you're off to climb mountains and be an adventure girl. There's no denying the difficulty in making such a decision after you've lived a life of social norms and precision. The reaction to such an announcement can be rather alarming, but those who love you most will be absolutely charming. You'll spend every free moment researching the trail, trying to prepare yourself not to fail. You'll be overwhelmed when you visit the store, wondering what on earth is all this gear even for. There's so many choices of tents and trekking poles, and you realise you'll need a shovel as you'll be pooing in holes. It may take months to plan your hike. There'll be moments of wondering whether what you're doing is right. Boxes of your belongings are in the garage stacked, the flights are booked, and the bag is packed. You're on the plane and the nerves disappear. Excitement runs through you and you beam from ear to ear. You've left the summer sunshine and landed in snow. Will you freeze to death? You just don't know. No point in worrying about that now because the shuttle is here. It's driving you to Springer Mountain and your heart starts to cheer. The rain is belting down in the window. It's hard to see 3 feet ahead. You wonder for a second if you should have stayed in bed. But the car has now stopped and out you must get. Boy oh boy, it is incredibly wet. Don all the rain gear and put on your pack. Wow, it feels heavy, but there's no going back. You take a deep breath and feel your heart beat as you look at the trail for the first time and then look at your feet. You can do it, you tell yourself. The hard part was getting here. Then you take that first step and a new life appears. A life that involves a lot of walking, a lot of mountains, and a lot of talking. You'll start in the winter through the cold and the rain, and the rain and the rain and the rain and the rain. The cold, crisp mornings in your tent covered in dew, those are the days that you'll get the best view. You'll hike on a bed of autumnal leaves and see ridgelines for miles through the bare and barren trees. Georgia prepares you for what is to come, the mountains, the weather, and a whole lot of fun. You'll learn so much in those first 7 days. You'll be hit with all weather as you follow that white blaze. You'll meet new people who are doing the same. Turns out you're not the only one who's insane. You'll walk underneath the famous tree of boots, by which point you'll be craving fresh vegetable and fruits. Before you know it, one state's gone by, and North Carolina will not be dry. You'll hang your sodden clothes up every night and hope they'll be dry by the morning light. They won't be. And so you'll put on wet clothes, and that is no fun when it's freezing cold. The rainstorms will happen whether you like it or not, and you'll realise the value in food that is hot. You'll hike up mountains that appear to be rivers and sleep in conditions that will give you the shivers. The hoarfrost arrives and turns all that you see into a magical wonderland that you can hardly believe. The cold snap will come to test you and your gear. You'll wear all your clothes and sleep in fear. Before you know it, you're on your way down to the NOC where your knees start to frown. New shoes appear on day 13 as you begin your day on a washing machine. You smile as you arrive at Fontana Dam. There's Frozen and Thai and the rest of the clam. You're off to the Smokies. You're nervous as hell. The weather is so awful, but there's no time to dwell. You'll hike in rain, which is freezing by the way, and hope you will make it to the end of the day. You'll meet a bunch of hikers who will brighten your mood, and you'll eat so much that you'll run out of food. When you arrive at Davenport Gap, you are secretly relieved that you didn't die when you hiked through the Smokies. Standing Bear Hostel will be a welcome sight, and you'll listen to music round the campfire at night. That's the first time you meet Lucky and Cat, and the beginning of following that cowboy's hat. Max Patch is everything you imagined and more. that sunset will stay with you forevermore. You'll stay in hot springs at Elmer's Hostel. You'll eat a £20 burger and want to go to hell. You'll hang your food bag high in the sky, but that won't stop the squirrels that fly. You'll start to feel your legs getting stronger and stronger, and notice you can hike for longer and longer. For many, many miles you will hike alone, one step at a time and into the unknown. Left with only your thoughts, you'll consider many things, your life past and present, and what the future may bring. Before you know it, you'll be sat in a van, eating pizza with friends and a very kind man. Because the trail is so random and no day is the same, it's exciting and liberating to be in such a game. You'll survive a snowstorm on a mountain top, believing you'll die of exposure if you dare stop. You'll be first to make footsteps over Rome Mountain in the snow, and you'll slip on ice and think, oh no. You'll battle through 70-mile-an-hour winds the very same day, and you'll cry and scream and hide and pray. You'll make it to safety and say to yourself, good grief. And then you see faces have waited for you, and you'll sigh with relief. You'll stumble across the border and into Tennessee. You'll wonder if the end of your adventure will be because of your sore knee. You'll get really good at nursing injuries. A few hours rest should do it, and some frozen peas. And then you're back on the trail with OTB at your side, and thank the trail for the easy terrain it provides. You'll hike a marathon on day 33, then into Virginia where you'll be full of glee. You'll sleep in shelters all alone, over the Grayson Highlands you will roam. You stop only for ponies to pass you by, it's so beautiful, you can't believe your eyes. You'll notice the trail logs with familiar names, and so begins the chasing game. You'll put in big miles and eat pizza at camp. Once again you'll be hiking in clothes that are damp. You'll have an idea where those hikers will be. You'll think, well, I'd go there if it were me. Together you'll hike over pastures so green, and past old buildings, Appalachia they scream. On a sunny day you'll hike up Chestnut Knob. The ridgeline that follows will make you want to sob. Skittles to mark you've walked 600 miles, and a shelter where hummus got quite a surprise. There'll be mountains and valleys and bridges and lakes, Snickers and sodas and parcels and snakes. You couldn't be happier to arrive at Woods Hole. The quaint, iconic hostel reaches deep into your soul. You'll point to the town that you see down below, where you'll taste your first Dairy Queen with those in the know. Your pack will be huge after your trip to town, and you'll need 2 people to get your bear bag down. The fluffy clouds in the bright blue sky will add to the joy of hiking when it is dry. You'll wrap your arms round the Kefir oak tree, climb stairs, rock rocks, and hike as a 3. Your favourite bug will be the cherry millipede, and you'll learn about veterans who are very cool indeed. Dragon's Tooth will be your first big test, the motivation being home place and a bit of a rest. You'll sing your way to camping that night, wishing you had eaten a little more light. Sunrise at McAfee's Knob will be a sight to behold, totally worth getting up in the dark and the cold. You'll smell so bad you need a Nero, but Roanoke is cool, so you take a 0. Finally, the sunshine comes out to play, and you catch up with Frozen on that really hot day. You'll wake up to a sunrise that's so very sweet and swim in a stream whilst your friends look for treats. There's many perks to having Frodog around, especially when his followers bring food to your campground. You'll meet Murica for the first time on that foggy night. He'll tell you you're a Hufflepuff, and you'll think he's alright. Severe weather is heading your way, so you get off at Buena Vista and have a movie day. The next challenge is hiking a marathon a day. For how long, you'll ask? A week, they say. You bump into Wow on your way up to the priest. Spy Rock is windy to say the very least. Following confession, you'll hike till sunset, arriving at camp with both feet wet. Next is Shenandoah National Park, and you just cannot wait, because everyone tells you the trail will be flat as a pancake. You won't exactly agree with that, but you'll love it anyway. The tramway will bond while singing songs, and Lucky has his bad day. It's all about the blackberries here, be it a cake or a shake. You'll run 17 miles one morning just to have a taste. You'll notice signs of spring appear and practice, say my name. Then, as often happens whilst on the trail, that sun turns into rain. You'll limp into the shelter, the day has been hard work. That's the night you meet one of the best, Mr. Uncle Perky Burke. You made it through the weekathon and you're so very glad. And now it's time to spend a week with your lovely, lovely dad. He'll meet you in Virginia and hike through 2PA. He'll be an absolute trooper every single day. The roller coaster he will ride with bluebells everywhere. He'll sleep in shelters in the woods but never see a bear. He'll see you get to Harper's Ferry and pass 1,000 miles. You'll zero in Washington DC together and take a scooter ride. You'll sing Country Road a lot and he'll play the guitar. And you'll think to yourself that night in that room that your dad is a total rock star. Maryland will go by in the flash of an eye and he'll experience a good storm. You will tell him not to worry because it's totally the norm. You'll leave him at the border where south becomes the north. Your journey must continue and it's time for you to set forth. You'll hike 32.7 miles that day, your biggest one to date. You'll smile when you finally reach the boys, even though it's late. You'll pass the halfway marker and eat ice cream till you're sick. You'll pass through the town of Boiling Springs, one of your prettiest picks. Arriving in Carlisle, you'll hope to pay in gold. The Beaver's Dam will bust its banks, and your feet will definitely be cold. Pennsylvania is renowned for being the rockiest of states, and you will understand the complexity of the term to love and hate. You'll love the big fat boulders and hate the jagged rocks. You'll hate that you lost your glasses, but love that you got new socks. You'll hear a story about a lemon, and then you'll want to die. Thank goodness for the trail angels, who save you with whoopie pies. And then it's time to begin the greatest week by far, as Sue flies in from Australia in a huge American car. It's birthday for America, and you're on the trail by 9. Sue isn't carrying a tent, but she does have 4 litres of wine. That's right, shock horror, and sorry to say you drink whilst hiking along. You all hiked an extra 3 miles that day because you went really, really wrong. Delaware Water Gap is a day of fun, especially the swim. The Walmart run was epic and lunch and dinner win-win. Frozen gets his birthday wish to leave the state of PA. New Jersey welcomes you with stunning views, and before you know it, you're away. The order of births is such that it means yours is the next day. There'll be Jaffa cakes for breakfast and games that you will play. You'll split from the group at High Point and head to the city of New York, where you and Sue will have a blast and eat Korean pork. No more time to party, it's time to hit the trail, but that doesn't quite go to plan. In fact, it's an epic fail. A few days off the trail to rest puts you way, way, way behind. If you want to catch the boys ahead, you're going to have to do a hard grind. It's now or never, and you decide to give it a go. You've got to cover 141 miles in only 4 days or so. You pass into New York and brave the slippy slopes. You climb the stairs to heaven and never give up hope. You make it over things you shouldn't and through the lemon squeeze. You can't stop at the views for long as there's not even time to sneeze. Bear Mountain as the sun sets gives such a pleasant view, and then you'll stumble down a million steps and your knees will scream, I hate you. The next day will be the hardest, you're tired and the whole thing is a slog. But you're cheered up at the shelter when you see that Lucky left tea for dogs. So you muster all your strength and hike as far as you can. You pass into Connecticut and stick to the ridiculous plan. You're on the trail by 5 a.m. and you're running as fast as can be. And waiting for you in Kent, Connecticut are the boys with a coffee for me. It's at that time you realise the strength within your brain, because you walked a shit ton of miles in a lot of physical pain. You take a few days off in Boston to rest your weary legs, and you're grateful for somewhere dry and warm to rest your little heads. You catch a game of baseball and marvel at some fish. You watch the final of Game of Thrones and think Jon Snow's a dish. Connecticut is beautiful, with views round every corner. It's home to your favourite day of all, and it's also getting warmer. cafes down the side trails and waterfalls for a swim, seeing perk and singing SOB really loud with your adopted next of kin. Angry snakes and organic farms where you sit on an upside down bus, hitches in the wrong direction and ghost stories to see who's the biggest wuss. It's at this time that you start to feel a change within you. It's less about the hiking now and more about with who. You realise that this journey was not about the miles, but about the people you shared them with who always made you smile. Saying yes to opportunities to see things off the beaten track will lead you to experiences and make you never want to go back. Into Massachusetts and camping with the bears, kayaking in the desert with a paddle that wears. And then, when you think you're the happiest you can be, you look down the trail and see a group of 3. You smile and scream, you can't believe your eyes, as Artie and Farmer and Kat finally arrive. Greylock will test you as the days get hot, but you'll smash that mountain and then rest at the top. Bikes for hikers sounds like fun to me, so you ride around looking for a cafe and a cup of tea. You enter Vermont as the rain starts to pour and you dream of Bennington more and more. A game of cards and a crate of beer will have frozen America full of cheer. The mud is real, it's everywhere. On your clothes, on your skin, on your shoes, in your hair. A myth the black flies are also not. A net is essential, make sure you've got. Fatigue starts to set in whilst you're in Vermont state. Your body is tired and you don't feel great. You have to dig deep to carry on walking, and it's always a bad sign when you don't feel like talking. You listen to people who try to instill fear. Apparently Killington's your first real mountain, you hear. Well, guess what? You make it up to the top and it wasn't that bad. People shouldn't put their own fears on you, it makes you so mad. You see a moose as you hike down the other side, and the joy you feel when you get to the inn on the long trail you just cannot hide. The next day you start to feel a little unwell. You do your best, but you feel like you're in hell. You'll spend one last night in the woods with the guys. Slowing down for you is the option that's wise. You visit the doctors and get the pills that you need, and the next day you feel ready to try and proceed. By which point Jardia has also claimed lucky, so now both of you are feeling pretty yucky. You'll take it slow and rest some more. Each mountain you climb is such a chore. You say farewell to a group of guys and use a whole toilet roll to dry your eyes. You never recover from not hiking with them again, but are grateful for the time you got to spend with those men. The views in New Hampshire literally bring you to tears, and not finishing the trail becomes your biggest fear. The whites are magnificent, they really are, and anyone who completes them is an absolute star. They are not to be feared, but just take your time. It's tough on the body, but you'll be absolutely fine. You'll hike above tree line and see some more snow. You'll look at the crippling downhill and think, oh no. You'll get caught in a storm on Franconia Ridge and be so cold you'll feel like you're in a fridge. You'll visit the huts for coffee and cake and marvel at sights that are so great. You'll learn about presidents as you hike up their range and enjoy so much the terrain that has changed. The hike up to Washington will speak to your soul. It will make you feel happy and make you feel whole. Summiting that mountain will be an emotional time, and it'll feel really good to touch that sign. And then Mount Washington will do what it does best, as you'll watch in horror a storm roll in from the west. You'll jump straight into action to get to a hitch, and make it to safety without a glitch. Back up the mountain, but this time by train. The fog covered everything, so the mountain didn't even look the same. The whites will reward you with sunsets if you choose, with delicious soups and brownies, and with shelters with views. You'll try anything to catch up to your friends who are ahead, including on the strike of midnight getting out of your bed. You find yourself crossing the border into your 14th and final state. The main event is here, and you're with your bestest mate. And so begins the finale, with a bloody fun mile. It's called Mahoosic Notch, and it takes you quite a while. It'll be cold down there, and there'll still be ice, but after hiking in the heat, it will be so very nice. You scramble and climb over everything in sight, using your whole body with all of your might. It takes an age but is absolutely the best, and afterwards you will definitely need a rest. Emotions run quite high over the next couple of days. You'll shed a few more tears and sometimes lose your way. Before you know it, you're sleeping in a geodesic dome, and then you're at a wedding eating lobster at their home. The ruggedness of Maine will hit you straight away, and you'll be able to see for miles on any given day. There's little sign of civilization, there's rarely a town in sight. It really is a wilderness, providing pure delight. Lucky will have a birthday and you'll eat an entire ice cream cake. You'll celebrate in style with his favourite chicken fried steak. Thank goodness that his grandparents will be close by to help when he collapses on the trail and begins to yelp and yelp. Another setback hits you, but you don't let it get you down. You take advice from your friend Wow when you zero into town. The last few weeks will be a challenge, the negativity will try to feed, but you starve it off with faith that the trail will provide what you need. And just as always, it does just that as you slowly make your way, continuing to put one foot in front of the other every single day. You don't want it to end, but your body needs it to. You also can't afford to buy an 8th pair of shoe. You feel the end is near and you don't know what to think. Your body's desperate for it to be over, but your heart feels like it might sink. Southern Maine is tough, but you'll be blown away by the numbers of stunning ponds that you will pass every single day. 2,000 miles of walking, you can almost taste the end. But there's still 200 miles of beauty left and you'll see it round every bend. You'll swim in open water and caves you will explore. Sunsets on mild evenings will leave you wanting more. You'll aquablaze the Kennebec with a father and son. Orange Blaze and Wagon Hammer, your friends they did become. July 4th will be celebrated with a swim in Pleasant Pond. Then next you'll get heat stroke and hope Lucky has a wand. You'll finally make it to Monson and head out to the shops. It's time to change out of those smelly clothes and into your party frocks. You're ready for the wilderness that stretches 100 miles, and when Lucky's dad surprises you, there'll be nothing but smiles. Softy will experience the trail at its very best. He'll see all we've had to endeavour thus far, and he'll also be put to the test. He'll wade through gushing rivers and hike over tree roots. He'll witness nature's beauty and get blisters from his boots. He'll camp in beautiful places and scramble down rocks so steep. He'll get annoyed with you both laughing when all he wants to do is sleep. He'll understand the magnitude of what you have achieved, and when he sees the trail magic, he'll be really, really pleased. You'll say goodbye to Softy and survive a tramping moose, and then you'll scream in pure delight as you see Perks is on the loose. You'll hike your penultimate mountain and catch your very first glimpse. To stop yourself from crying, you'll instead just wince and wince. There'll be an opportunity to take a speedboat ride. You'll relish at the thought of it and quickly jump inside. Whitetop is a special place, you'll think it's so good. And then when you think things can't get better, in walks your mate Bud. You spend those last few days reflecting on the trail, trying desperately to summarise it, only to epically fail. It's impossible, you realise, to explain what you have done, to describe what you have witnessed and express who you've become. Your body needs it to be over, but your head can't get on board. You wonder how you will love each day without a river to ford. You'll reminisce with Lucky about all the fun you've had, and then you'll spontaneously cry for no reason, and he'll just think you're mad. And then you'll see Katahdin. From Able Bridge you'll stand. You'll both be stunned to silence as you hold each other's hands. You'll extend the inevitable summit day to push it out one more, in the hope you'll get to summit without another downpour. You'll enter Baxter State Park full of excitement and nerves, and you'll party round the campfire, marshmallows you'll be served. The morning comes round quickly, the time is now, is here. You look over to Lucky and he's smiling from ear to ear. You pack up one last time and eat your oatmeal warm. You want to be on that mountain at the very crack of dawn. You meet your comrade Perk and set off all together. You're hiking up Katahdin today, no matter what the weather. The climb is tough, but you'd expect nothing less as you carefully make your way up. You imagine touching that famous sign and drinking tea out of a cup. The gateway suddenly appears, but you can hardly see it through the fog. You laugh about the weather, but not when you see a dog. You're full of adrenaline, you know you can't be far, but the fog is so thick that you really don't know where you are. Then Lucky makes you stop and point straight ahead, and you see for real what you've seen so many times in your head. You've summited Katahdin after walking for all of this time, and finally it's your moment to touch that old brown sign. You thought you'd be crying, but instead you laugh and wink at the guy standing right beside you, who often goes pink. You'll think about how grateful you are to be here in this moment right now, giving thanks to so much kindness that you'll never forget, you vow. You'll say thank you to your body for getting you this far, and thank you to all the angels that let you ride in their car. Thank you to your tramway for giving your confidence a boost. Thank you to the trail gods for saving you from that moose. Thank you to your heart for opening at the right time. Thank you to your best friend for making you drink wine. Thank you to the trail for allowing you to embrace getting mucky. And thank you to the stars that aligned so that you could meet Lucky. You'll stand on that sign knowing that it's over and you're done. You through hike the Appalachian Trail and you'll think, that was so much fun.
Almost heaven.
West Virginia.